In 1957, the United States was still searching for answers when it came to the case of a mysterious young boy whose battered body had been discovered stuffed inside a box along a quiet roadside. In Philadelphia, this puzzling crime would become one of the most haunting mysteries in American history, and despite a massive investigation and countless theories, nobody could identify the child or find those responsible for his horrific death. All they knew was that he was around 3 to 7 years old, having been brutally beaten and left to die. So here's the mystery of the boy in the box. America's unknown child. On February 25, 1957, a young man named John Smollett was making his way along a country road in the Fox Chase neighborhood of Philadelphia. As he walked, he checked his several muskrat traps. When he reached one in particular, he noticed something strange near the tree it was attached to, a smallish box wrapped in oilcloth. Thinking nothing of it, he left and went on about his day. However, later that same day, a group of students from nearby Temple University were walking along the same road. When they noticed the box, one of them, a young woman named Helen, stopped to investigate, convinced it contained an abandoned baby. To her horror, she found the body of a young child instead. Helen immediately called the police. When officers arrived at the scene, they found a small, slightly soiled blanket outside the box. Inside, wrapped in a layer of dirty rags, was the battered body of a young child. His feet protruded from a pair of plaid pajama bottoms, and his head was covered in a crudely cut, unwashed mop of dark hair. The officers carefully lifted the child from the box and turned him over. He had no visible face. His body was covered in bruises and cuts, and he was so malnourished that he was almost skeletal. Clearly, whoever had done this had meant to kill him. But just as puzzling as the crime itself was the fact that none of the missing child reports matched the boy's description. Whoever had left him there had taken great pains to conceal his identity. The investigation immediately began. The area surrounding the box was combed for clues, but the only thing of interest found was a half-empty bottle of milk. From there, the investigation went nowhere. Fingerprints and footprints were taken from the boy, but since he was unidentified, nobody knew where to run them through. Photographs of his battered body were plastered across newspapers, posters, and even included in utility bills mailed across Philadelphia. Every possible avenue was explored, but nobody came forward to claim him. For more than 60 years, he was remembered only as America's unknown child. But over the years, several theories did emerge. One suggested that the boy had come from the nearby St. Joseph's Orphanage, which was known for its poor conditions and mistreatment of children. But when police searched the premises, they found no connection. Another bizarre theory involved a woman who had a psychic vision of a house matching the details of the boy's injuries. She led police to a home matching the description, but no physical evidence tied it directly to the case. Perhaps the most disturbing theory suggests that the boy had been murdered by his own foster parents, a claim made by a woman who said her mother had bought the boy just to kill him. However, her story was filled with inconsistencies and none of it could be proven. The case went cold, but the boy in the box never faded from memory. People across the country mourned the unidentified child, wondering who he was and how he died. Even though the public had no name for him, they still held vigils on the anniversary of his death in 2022. A team of investigators and forensic artists revisited the case using modern technology. They created a composite sketch of what the boy might have looked like and conducted DNA testing on his remains. Finally, after 65 years, he was identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, who was born in 1953. Investigators also identified his parents, although their names were not released publicly. Still, the question remains: who killed little Joseph and why? If you have any information about this case, please contact the authorities. Hopefully, with the renewed attention, they can finally bring the person or persons responsible to justice.